welcome back to episode 139 of Talk of Fame podcast with your host, Kylie Montigney. Today we are joined by one of my lovely friends, Grace, she's an actress, dancer, and model. Thanks so much for coming on, Grace.
Hi, it's so nice to be on here.
Yeah, I'm so happy we were able to connect with that again. Like we last time we connected was like my Instagram series, right? I think this is like the last time we kind of face to face connected, I think.
Yeah, that was the last time it was the Girl Empowerment series. Yeah.
Yeah, so what you been up to since then? Is there, I know you've been doing a lot of dance classes and stuff. Like, what you been up to since?
I've been pretty busy with auditions and acting classes, and then I've been teaching kids dance. And then besides that, I'm currently working on a short film that I'm going to be. I submitted it to the Orlando Independent Film Festival and it got accepted. So supposed to finish filming that on Sunday. So that one's exciting and it's a pretty important piece to me. And then besides that, I think I've just been trying to get through life.
For sure. Like, where are you guys like filming your short film at? Is it like around your neighborhood or is it like out of state type of thing?
Yeah, I am kind of taking all roles of it. I've just found it easier, surprisingly. So I'm filming it probably in my neighborhood somewhere. It's a car scene, so it's going to take place inside the car. So it really doesn't matter the background for this particular spot. But the rest of it I actually filmed in my room because it was a college audition for a film for a short film, and I'm just kind of making it longer. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. Like I know you've been doing like your work and stuff, acting, dancing, modeling for a long time since you're a little kid. I know we kind of talked about this on the Instagram series if no one took that out, but like how did you kind of discover your passion for the arts? I know we kind of discussed this. I know it's like kind of a whole same things we kind of talked about like last time we talked and stuff, but how did you discover like your passion for the arts?
Well, my mom put me into dance class when I was 2. So that right away was just starting. And I always loved singing and dancing at that age. And then acting, I was always doing make-believe games like with my grandma and coming up with things. And then when I was 7, I told my mom that I wanted to do film because we were watching the movie Enchanted, and Menzel is my second cousin. So we were watching it, and my mom is like, "Oh my gosh," or she's like, "That's your cousin," and I was like, I want to do that. And then I mean, I lived in Florida, and at the time, Florida was definitely not a big filming
Mhm.
community or acting community in general. And so I also had a 5-year-old brother and a 2-year-old brother at the time. My mom's like, we don't have time to get you into acting. No idea how to do that. So that was put on the back burner. Then when I was 9, I started theater and I did theater for a while, loved it. And then when I was 13, my mom found film classes. So I started taking those. And from there, I have just been taking them ever since, signed with a manager and agent, and have been auditioning and filming and working hard. So,
Yeah, like, I remember you telling me like you relate to Amy Adams. Like that's insane.
or
Like
Adina
did you find
Menzel.
that out like when you were really young, or is it, like when you're a teenager, those type of years?
Um, well, I'm related to Adina Menzel. Trust me,
Yeah.
I wish I was related to Amy Adams too. That would be amazing.
Mhm.
I found that out, like I remember hearing it when I was little, because my grandma and her mom are first cousins. So they grew up together, like in the same place. I am not close with them. We kind of, went our separate ways. But my mom went to see her Broadway show. I think it was If Then at the time. I think that's what it was. And she went backstage with her. And so they were able to FaceTime me. And I talked to her again. I think I was like 9, 8 at that time. And I thought it was pretty cool. At that part, I was like getting how big she was. And then I met her in person at a concert she did. We went backstage and got to say hi. And she showed me her wardrobe and everything. So that was nice.
I'm literally so jealous. Like that's so amazing. Like, did you like ever connect with like Patrick Dempsey or anything through the cast, like with having her as a cousin? I mean I know like for some actors, like when they're connected to kind of big stars, I know they like to like kind of connect to your like family to other like their friends they have in the industry and stuff. Like did she ever kind of connect with you like when you guys were still in touch?
See, no, because we were never again really close. Like, probably doesn't even realize I exist at the moment. Um, but when I was like, when last time I met her, I was probably 12 or 13. I think I was like 12. And so I was only really doing theater, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this, but I didn't talk to her about it. And I would love to be able to talk to her about it, but it really hasn't helped me in the industry in any way. Like, trust me, I wish I could have taken advantage and had her help me and guide me and get through stuff, but it's really just been kind of a cool thing to say, more of it hasn't helped me get in anywhere or meet anybody.
Like, do you think it would help you? Like, I know, like, do you think it'll ever help you, or are you rather like, oh my God, I'd rather do this on my own than have like someone else get all like my kind of projects and stuff for me instead of me working hard for myself?
Yeah, I want to do it on my own. I think it's more of a cool thing. Like after I do some bigger things, I feel like that would be cool to connect and talk about it. I would like to be able to talk to her just about advice and getting through things, if that's more
Mhm.
makes more sense, or if she has any lessons she could teach me. But I've always kind of disliked the fact how people get into things through having famous relatives.
Mhm.
And that's always because I'm like, and then they're upset. They're like, well, it's harder on us because then we have to like prove it on camera, like prove
Oh
that.
yeah.
But I'm like, at least you get the chance to prove it.
Yeah, that's so true. Like because like I have like two like cousins that are journalists that are basically so well known in my area. And people always ask me if I'm related to them, and they're always like, "Oh, like can I meet them, or can I connect with them, or can you prove it, or whatever?" I'm like, "How do you want me to prove that I'm related to them? Like you can just look at it on my social media. I have some posted with one of my cousins on my social media. You can just look through it there. Like it's just like sometimes like." It's not a bad thing to relate to someone that's kind of well known. You know what I mean? Like, some, of course, it gets annoying being asked. And sometimes I'll get annoyed about being asked questions about my family, so many times. But then, like, it's kind of like something to brag about. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, I'm related to this actress. I'm related to this person. Like, it's like a pros and cons to the situation and being related to someone that's well known in your area or across the world.
And I mean, she definitely inspired me she was one of my inspirations to get into the industry. So I think that's kind of more the important aspect. It was just like like someone in my family, someone I'm related to does this, then I could potentially do this. Like it could happen to me.
Yeah, for sure. And like you just starred in a feature film called The Day You Met, which is about Officer Danny Lannister has a chance with members of the House of Lee was investigating a possible human trafficking ring. Like the meeting will gain Danny some new family and new way of life. Was it a difficult process filming the film? Like was it difficult to film for you? Or like was it easy?
Honestly, it was I found I didn't find it that complicated. It was we filmed it very quickly, like very quickly. And so I was like, how the heck is this supposed to be a feature film? But in the film, I play a I'm a badass. I'm a badass girl. And I'm also like an older woman, like 100 years old or something inside of a child's body.
Ooh.
So it's like I've also very, very much felt more mature and older than I am in reality. I've just kind of had a better outlook on things and just been able to see above like the little things that, get in the way when you're in like eighth grade and you have drama. It's just like, what's the point? And so I
Mhm.
felt it was just easier to kind of portray that because I felt like I have a bit of a, older vibe, even though I look a lot younger.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like was it like about human trafficking or was it like about like something totally different?
No, there was human trafficking involved, actually. I wasn't trafficked, but I kind of stopped it. These kids were being, trafficked and kidnapped and everything. So then we kind of show up there and get rid of those bad guys and, so they're saved, I think. It's literally been a while since film, so I would have to go back and reread the script to double check everything I'm saying is accurate.
Yeah, like I know like for the film, like I know it's like different like from like the actual description. So I know like I wanted to like ask you like why do you kind of think like it is important to talk about human trafficking? Not only just like with your friends, but also like on television. Like because I know like a lot of people are kind of I've seen like a lot of people are doing more human trafficking films or about or something situate like kind of similar to what human trafficking is. You know what I mean? Like it's like why do you think it's kind of important to kind of show about human trafficking or even talk about it?
I think just the community in general, the entertainment community, has become, I guess you could say, more woke. So everything that hasn't been talked about in the past, mental illnesses, disabilities, that were really like not a huge thing, have become bigger. So human trafficking is one of those. And it's true, it's a serious kind of thing that goes on. And back in the day, like it wasn't talked about, like
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew about it, and people just who went through things or who maybe survived it didn't didn't feel comfortable to talk about it, didn't they thought they would be judged harshly. But now it's like you can talk about things. Like when I was little, and had anxiety, I had a therapist, obviously, for my anxiety, and at the time you didn't talk about it. It wasn't something that you could say to someone. And now it's like everyone tells everyone, yeah, I've got a therapist. Yeah, we do this. Yeah. And it's like, that's just so cool to see how things aren't, you shouldn't be scared of like things, or you shouldn't have to hide things that happen to you or hide events, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's how I was. Like I grew up with anxiety. I even had a therapist when I was young. Like I'm not afraid to say, "Oh, I had a therapist." Like it's not a bad thing to say, "Oh, I got a therapist." But then, like as I grew older, like I kind of grew against therapy. Like like as I felt like, oh, like I feel like I should deal with things on my own instead of having a therapist. Like you may never know. Like it might make things worse. But then, like that's kind of not the solution to kind of just solve your problems and get better with yourself. Like for me, medication, like I'm not saying this works for everybody. Like I know like for medication, it
Yeah.
helped me personally more than therapy ever had when I had was young. You know what I mean? Like with medication, my anxiety took over my whole life, you know what I mean? Like it's like it was honestly so bad. And like with being judged, like I was scared to talk about my anxiety with other people that because like I'm afraid I was gonna get judged and do all these things, but then like it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to say like, okay, well, I'm not doing well. Can I talk to you about it? Or can you give me some help? Can you put me in therapy? Or can you talk about this thing and help me give me some advice? Like you don't be scared to be judged. If you get judged, then don't worry about it. Like it's your personal solution. Like it is mad that you're going through that. Like you don't know what you're going through but then, like, when you talk about that solution, like, you will find people that are going through the exact same thing that you're going through. Like, I'll be like, hey, like, I'm going through anxiety as well. You want to talk about our things and maybe we'll connect on something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's yeah, it's important, and there's different methods. I mean, medication has been a big thing in my life too, and I know people who like therapy, who like journaling. It really depends on preference, and there's so many like outlooks. And I actually recently was connected with a kid who has anxiety and also dysautonomia, which is another thing I have, and she has always looked up to me in school and stuff. And so her mom was like, can we get them together? Like, so that she can just talk, because she hasn't met anyone that has like both of these things. And so I was like, this is kind of cool, because this is what I wish I had when I was little.
Yeah, like when you see somebody, like how old is she like the same age as you or is she younger?
No, she's younger. She's in I'm going to say sixth grade.
Uh,
And so yeah, like 12, I think. But yeah, I remember when she was in pre-K and I was in fifth grade. So I loved her. Thought she was the cutest little thing. And then I guess she continued to look up to me, and she now does theater as well. And
Oh,
so,
gotcha. And like when you see like younger kids, especially younger kids that suffer anxiety, like that's honestly who I wish I had. Like I'd be like, hey, like obviously I had some people in my family that have anxiety, but you barely see people like your age or kind of close in your age that deal with the exact same thing you are. And that's kind
mhm.
of like something I wish I had, like you said, I had when I was young. Because like it'll help you know that like, okay, well, this person does the same thing I do. Can I talk to them about it? Or how do they connect? How do they end these type of situations when they're dealing with anxiety?
Yeah.
And like, and so like, you are currently writing a children's book, which is amazing. Like, what can you like say about it? Like, what can you kind of say about the project?
So I actually have finished writing it. I'm currently just trying to get a publisher illustrator thing kind of going. Again, my life is pretty busy, but I'm waiting to hear back from one of my cousins who is into writing, and hopefully she'll give me some insight on, publishers that might be good. But this was again about anxiety. I forget exactly what I called it, but it's a children's book about inspired by my personal story, but it's about a different character. So it's a character book, and it's about these two girls that kind of find each other, and they both have anxiety, and they realize that they're not alone. They have each other, and that it's okay to talk about it, and they're going to be okay in the long run. And it teaches children, because I think this is something that should be read to little kids. I felt
Mhm.
very alone when I was little, and anxiety isn't super common in a 7-year old, but I
Mhm.
think it should still be taught. And this is something that can do that. It's also a good resource for parents, I think, to help realize, oh, this could be a sign of anxiety in a little child. This could be a symptom. This, what might we be able to do to help? And you can just connect with people through it. So,
Yeah, exactly. Like I love like that you're writing this book because like not many people know what anxiety is at a young age. Like they think like, oh, it's just something you're growing up with. Like you might be a little scared. Like kids get scared all the time. That might be it. Like I was always a scared little kid, honestly, like to be honest with you. But like I didn't even know what anxiety was until I got into my teenage years. Like, I didn't even know anxiety was a thing when I was a little kid. I just thought, like, oh, like, I'm just scared of everything. I just, like, get nervous and stuff. I'm always this little shy kid. Like, I didn't know that was anxiety. I just thought, like, oh, I'm just shy. You know what I mean? I'm just being myself. But, like, I feel like anxiety, like, when you are very young, is not very talked about. Like my nephew's 2 years old, and I see like from him that he's so much like me when I was a little kid. And like when I like look through him, I when I see through his eyes, when I see him, like I'm like, oh my God, like he literally kind of saw what I saw when I was a little kid. He acted like me when I was a little kid. But then like you just don't know what to do for your like for the people around you or for yourself that go through anxiety because it's not talked about or you don't know where to get help. Because sometimes people don't have the resources or the money or family problems or whatever you're going through, like you might not have that resource to get better in their life, whatever they're going through.
mhm.
And like how do you like deal with self-doubt as an actor? Because I know like with being in entertainment, people feel so much self-doubt, including me. I deal with so much self-doubt. Like how do you like deal with it, like self-doubt?
It's always been a hard thing for me. I've always, I was bullied my entire life growing up.
Mhm.
And so I put up these walls to kind of stop stuff, and that was not healthy. Um, but for me personally, I just have to try and focus on myself, be supportive of friends in the industry, but focus on myself because every person's journey is different. And my manager's assistant, I think, told me you can't move forward looking sideways. So if you're looking at someone who's like you in the entertainment industry and you're just like, why did she book this and I didn't? It's just going
Mhm.
to hold you back. So there's things like that, but also therapy is a useful tool. I was not in it for a while, but I'm planning on going back now just to kind of, get feelings out and talk. In one of my acting classes, we started doing this thing called tapping with this guy, Brad Gates, who's for actors. And it's just like using pressure points, you clear these self doubts about yourself. Like that's the purpose. Um, and it's a useful tool for some people. I find it's nice to just kind of be in the moment and do it and just try and realize I am worth it. It doesn't matter if people were saying it. It's nothing to do with me. It's them. It's
Mhm.
something about them. I am worthy. I am worth it. I will get there.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, like every person's experience and journey is different. Like not everyone's gonna have the same journey. Like when I see people like do great things or get roles or get more interviews or whatever they do, like of course I would be upset, but like why can't I get this opportunity or why can't I get to experience like they did? Like you kind of feel this, I don't know what the word to describe it, but feel some sort of anger, I feel, like, or sadness. You feel like, oh my God, like why can't I get this opportunity, but they can, like they did. Like it can be very, very difficult, but at the same time, like it just makes you work harder at the same time to get the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. And you have to like learn to be happy for other people too. And that's the hard part. And sometimes
Hmm.
social media is a great thing, but sometimes it can just be a little too much and you might need to take a step away from it or just certain types or I mean, like I sometimes I'll be on Instagram and scrolling and I'm like, maybe we just don't need to scroll right now. Maybe we could just do something else because it's just upsetting me seeing all my friends are booking and I'm not in this moment.
Yeah, like that's actually like the bad part about social media. Like when you see your friends, like of course social media is a big part of entertainment. That's kind of how me and you connected with social media. Social media can be an amazing tool to connect with other people and meet and kind of make connections to like meet new people and of course make connections and basically kind of grow your career as you go. But then when you see people book things and you see people doing all these amazing things, you're like, oh my gosh, like why can't I have that? Like why can't like you just think like, oh my God, like I don't think I need to be on social media right now. This is too much for me. I don't think I should be on social media the rest of the day for my well-being. Of course, I want to see my friends do amazing things and get booked and do all these things and grow. But then like it also kind of affects your well-being, I feel.
Yeah, and it is a great tool to like use, talk to followers and people. And that's for me like I mean, it's not a great thing with acting, but it is. You can turn it into a great thing. Having a following and having all these
Mm-hmm.
people looking up to you, you can take advantage of it and share thoughts and things that are important to you that maybe can help other people, whether it be just lessons about different things like disabilities or anxiety or just like things like that. You can also share about woman empowerment, just different things that are
Mm-hmm.
important to you as a person, and you can share it with these people so they learn what you're truly like and so it's nice to have that. And I've again, as I said, I was bullied a lot growing up, so having
Mm-hmm.
the hate um is just kind of a thing that I was used to. So I feel like it doesn't bother me as much on social media. Not that I get it a lot, but having one of those mean messages or something, you just kind of I've learned to block it out. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's not
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. And like, do you have like any like upcoming projects in the works? Or I know you mentioned one earlier, but do you have anything that's gonna be released or like things you're be working on soon this year or anything that was kind of in the works?
Well, the short film that I'm going to be filming, so that's one of them. And then the book, I'm trying to get that out. And then songs, I've been writing songs. I can tell you right now, I am not the best singer, Broadway wise.
Mm-hmm.
Broadway wise, I am not the best singer, but I am a good singer. I grew up in musicals. So I wrote all these songs just about different things, and I am currently working with a recording studio owner that we know, and I'm talking to him, and he's trying to connect me with some people to help, add music and lyricists to try and make the writing as best as it can be, just to get my stories across. So that is something. It's not my priority right now, but I'm hoping maybe over the summer I'll have time to kind of go in and talk to some of these people and hopefully get that rolling. But I do want to have a bit more of a following before releasing that stuff, but that I can get into. But besides that, it's just auditions and the short film is really my main priority right now, working wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what is like some advice for upcoming actors or dancers and stuff like that? Like I like this is the last question I have for you, by the way.
Um, for actors, you need to I remember hearing this question, like to famous actors getting asked this question all the time, and they'd be like, just don't give up on yourself, keep going. And I'm like, okay, but that doesn't help me because I don't know how to get there. Like I just did.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so my advice is if you want to get into acting, take acting classes, find first film acting classes if that's what you want to get into, and take those for a little bit, a couple of years maybe, and then try and get into casting director sessions and or casting director what they do these like open classes or whatever that you can pay for, and but wait till you've had the training, and then eventually your coach, after coaching with a couple of coaches, you might be able to connect with one who can get you into a manager or an agent or whatever. That's how it happened for me. I got my manager after years with this casting director I was good friends with. She helped get me in touch with one who really liked me, and then months that manager worked really hard for months to try and get me in with an agency. And eventually I got in with my agent, who actually I had met her before. Her husband was my headshot photographer. And at the time he was like, you need to sign her. And she was like, nah. And then later she was like, I regret not signing you earlier. And I was like, well, that's pretty nice to hear. But yeah, you really just need to work and try and get into those things. That's how, if you want to get into it, that's my advice. But honestly, again, just continue working. Like never stop classes. I currently take 2 acting classes a week. And I would like to even take more if I have time. Watch movies and TV. That's a great
Hmm.
learning source. It's also fun. You can learn about different methods, just different things like that. So never stop learning, and then don't give up. Work hard on auditions. When you get the auditions, put your all into it, coach on it, put your all into it, go into it thinking, I'm going to book this, and like really go hard for it, or really work hard to try and
Hmm.
get it. And then after you do it, you have to forget about it. Just
Hmm.
try and drop it, because otherwise you're going to go crazy if you do not forget.
Yeah, for sure. And like, by the way, before we end this episode, did you watch new Outer Banks season 3 yet? Or like, where did you ever like watch the show?
So I watched the first like 2 episodes, I think, and then I kind of stopped because I got busy or I started watching something else. But I am planning to finish it. I think it's an amazing show. I think it's
Mhm.
great. I remember watching the first season and I was like, the way they have the dialogue, um, the teenagers and everything, I feel like it was just so relatable. I was like, I
Mhm.
know so many teenage guys that talk to each other like this, and it's not
Yeah,
something I see often. Um,
yeah.
so I think it's a great show though.
Yeah, like, I'm like I legit just started the show like 2 weeks ago. I have like 2 episodes left of season 2, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. Like I can't get over this show. Like I don't like I in the part where this is kind of like a spoiler alert to some people. They are not on this. Listen to like watch the show, but one of the parents dies. Not gonna say who. Well, one of the parents dies in season 2, and I got me so upset. Like. Because I love that character. He was different in a way. Like you might know who it is. I'm not gonna say this for the people who didn't watch, but like
Yeah.
there's this character that he did something bad, but at one point he's good, but then on the other hand he's bad at the same time.
Yeah.
And like that made me so mad. But like I don't know if you've seen this, but there's like a TikTok audio like going viral about John B like finding the gold or something. I don't know if you saw it, but it's like Johnny or something. Like this is TikTok going viral. I'm absolutely like going crazy over the sun right now. Like it's like, come on, Johnny, we're gonna find the gold. Like it's like that. It's absolutely like I can't get the sound out of my head last like 2 days.
I feel like so many TikToks from that show, like so many sounds come out. Like I think there was one about like um the girl what's oh my gosh, I'm blanking. But there was one about the girl, and she's like, I remember there was like a little dance. She was like, you don't love me, you don't, or something.
Oh yeah,
That
I
one was
know what you're talking
funny.
about. It's like with her and her ex-boyfriend or whatever in like season 1.
It was something. I'm like, I'm kind of blanking, but I was like, that one blew up too. So
Yeah,
that
I know
show,
I think it's from Sarah and Topper, like in season 1 when they kind of like broke up
yes,
in a way. Yeah.
yes, yes.
And there's one that went viral too with Madison Bailey with this sow with her parents. They're like in an argument and like I slept with a pogue or something. Like Adam slept with a pogue like you did. Like there's something like that that went viral as well.
I also love like the drama like that.
Me
Like
too. I
horror.
live for
Oh,
that.
another thing, horror is my favorite genre to
Mhm.
act in generally. Like that's when my agent first met me. She was like, I could see you as a Kirsten Dunst as a in a interview with the vampire where she was like the little devil child. My mom was like, that's great. And I was like, yeah, I see that too. And so that was one of the roles she referenced. And I recently just had like my first horror audition. I was like, how has it taken this long? I'm literally made for horror. Um, and I literally got down to the final two. Like it was between me and one other girl. I was like, I've never gotten this far in an audition. Like, I mean, obviously when I book it, but like never in the process gotten this far and then not booked it. But I was like, wow, I got really far. And that was my first ever horror audition. So that's got to tell you something. But they went with the other actress because she was local to where they were filming. So
Yeah, like that's like how you say like when you're made for that drama. Like I know like for my friend actress, like she literally got booked the first role she ever auditioned for. Like she like that's how like much luck is. Even though like you got in top two, even though you never booked it, that kind of says how much luck you have in that field. Like how much you are good at a position.
yeah. And I think I've grown to love all genres, but I was like, horror, I would love to do a horror film, like as like the possessed child or something who's like terrorizing the family.
Yeah, I can definitely like see you doing a horror film. Like that's like kind of the way you are and stuff and the way like you act. Like in the acting scene, like I can definitely see it.
Yeah.
And like I just wanted to thank you so much for joining. It's so great to chat with you again. You're just amazing. And I can't wait to see all your upcoming projects. And if you ever need help with anything, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to help you with anything you have or whatever. And yeah, thanks so much for joining. And where can people connect with you on social media if they want to connect with you?
They can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, I think Facebook. Well, Facebook is friend request, but Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and it's all at Grace Schnitzius. Last name kind of complicated, but it's SCHNITZIUS, and you can look it up also on Safari, and you can go onto my IMDb and see any upcoming projects I might have on there, and just yeah, you can stay updated with me on there.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining. Everyone go connect with Grace. She's amazing. And yeah, thank you so much for joining, Grace. It's so fun to chat with you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely chat with you soon. Thanks so
Okay.
much. Bye.
Bye.